Hi, everyone, and welcome to Changemaker Chats, a series about passionate people working to change our region into a community where all people thrive, regardless of their income, race, or place. I'm John Wilgers, President and CEO of Greater Twin Cities United Way, and I'd like to welcome and introduce today's guest, Paul Mooty. Paul is Vice Chairman and Partner at Faribault Woolen Mill, and he's a Greater Twin Cities United Way donor. So welcome, Paul, and thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, John.
Maybe we start out by talking about your career, where you've been, and what took you to Faribault Woolen Mill.
I'm a lifelong Minnesotan. I grew up in Edina, and I still live there. So I'm certainly I haven't strayed far. I came across Faribault Woolen Mill almost 10 years ago to the day. It was actually March 8th of 2011 where I walked through this place where it had been closed for 2 years and found my initial 5-minute impression was one where I wanted to leave because I thought it was kind of it was a bigger, it was kind of messy here. But quickly, the fellow who gave, speaking of, change and passion, the person that gave me that tour that day had worked here for 40 years, was living on the property, caretaking it, hoping somebody would come along and buy it. And I left there that day feeling his passion. And that led to very shortly thereafter, a month and a half later, we had a letter of intent to buy the mill.
All during that career, I know that you were always engaged in your community. So talk about what that engagement was like, and what really drives you to do that kind of work and engage in that way.
My dad had been a Rotarian, and in the late '90s, I was involved in a sort of an executive group, and one of the guys invited me to Edina Rotary, and so I went and ended up joining, and Rotary really became a part of my core. Went on to, in 2008-9, I was club president and have been involved in a number of things there and served on the board. And Rotary's motto is service above self, which to me is really an underlying core value. And it also has something called the four-way test that was developed, and it goes of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And those are things that, really resonated with me, and the things that Rotary did both locally and internationally were things that were and have been very fulfilling for me. So Rotary's been a very important part of my life, and so, as I said, it does things locally. So I'm able to we do things within the community and outside. And then I've been involved in, I've served on the Edina Community Foundation. I was on the board of trustees at Fairview Southdale Hospital. All things within the community and now I just recently joined the Edina Chamber of Commerce board. I love the community. And sometimes for me, John, it's a matter of I feel like maybe sometimes I get more out of it than I give, because I love to learn, and these are opportunities to really see what's out there and where the needs are, and then hopefully be able to then contribute back and make it better. So it's something that's just sort of in me to be part of the community and do the best I can to try and help a little bit.
You made a good point. When I'm recruiting people to do different things at United Way, to support different initiatives, one of the things I always say is a really good volunteer experience is one where you grow as much as you give. And I think that's true, based upon my personal experience as a United Way volunteer, but also of others that have volunteered there. I think that's the case. So speaking of Greater Twin Cities United Way, we're a 100-year-old organization. We were established we celebrated our centennial in 2015, a few years ago. We have people who have been with us a long time. You actually have become a United Way volunteer and donor in the scheme of things relatively recently. So, which I love, by the way. I like. What brought you to United Way?
2019, through the mill, we I think it was the Home for Good effort, and we supplied some blankets for that, and then came down and helped pack baskets, and got to engage with a number of people there, and that was the first sort of hands-on opportunity. And then of the mill, we in partnership with you all, we developed we call it the Justice Blanket. It's a blanket with a quote from Martin Luther King on it, and what we did was we donated $100 of each sale to United Way, and so to date, I think we've donated over $24,000 back, and hopefully much more to come. But that's been another. And that's to help for the the rebuilding of the post George Floyd situation in the cities that you're doing such a wonderful work with. But the quote, the Martin Luther King quote is the time is always right to do what's right. It's just it's a great quote, and one obviously that's resonated with customers, and it's been a great give back opportunity.
I thought you might bring that up. I just happen to have I just happen to have mine right here. It is terrific, and I did notice when I got your catalog in the mail a couple of weeks ago that you are still producing and still selling, and it says still making a portion of those proceeds as a donation to Greater Twin Cities United Way. So thank you for that. We appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
I know that you also made a donation that was designated to one of our innovation initiatives that we're kicking off here, 80 by 3. And 80 by 3 really is based upon the research that shows that 80% of brain development happens in the first 3 years of life. And so this initiative really does work to with parents, with caregivers, with various connection points to improve that brain stimulation during those first 1,000 days. What is there something in particular that drew you to the 80 by 3 initiative?
My wife Jean and I both are, again, we love our community, but it's really the children are our most precious resource, and to think that in the information I was reading, to think that there's 78,000 young kids unable to get even the most basic of needs, and the impacts that has, not just not having those things, but the long-term impacts that has, and the work that you're doing to help address that and engage just was so important. We're now grandparents for 3 grandkids, and so it's kind of brings it back full circle. We've had kids, we've raised kids, and now you see as we see our grandkids coming into this world, and then thinking about kids that have these needs is how important it is that we try to help both in terms of financial donations, and then hopefully along the way hands-on stuff, because I think there's a lot of it's very important to engage beyond check writing, and while check writing is very important, I think it makes the check writing even more valuable to understand what's really going out there. It's one thing to read about it. There's another thing to actually, and that's one thing Rotary's taught me, is you really get in front of things and get involved. It deepens the cause and the importance of in doing the right thing. And again, the whole Rotary service above self motto is, I think, certainly an underlying theme for us.
Well, thanks to you and Jean for your engagement and for your support. You mentioned George Floyd. You mentioned the civil unrest. We're still battling our way through a pandemic. We've experienced and continue to experience a difficult and divided political environment. So it's a complicated world out there. When you look at all that, Paul, is there anything that gives what gives you hope when you look at that?
Yeah, I'm an optimist. I mean, I think I try and work from that premise, and my dad always taught me that there are always solutions to problems. That don't give up. To press forward. But I also know this country's gone through many bad moments, and we come out stronger. And I just think that keeping an optimistic perspective. And then great organizations like, the Greater Twin Cities United Way, Rotary, all the other great nonprofits out there that are doing good work. That I'm optimistic. I believe that we can and will get there. But the road is never straight. Whether you're in business trying to revive an old mill, it ain't a straight line. And I think just keeping positive energy and believe in the mission and stay true to that. I know there are moments where you go, how the heck are we gonna get out of this? But I do think in the long run, I'm an optimist, and I ain't changing my story, so I'm sticking to it.
Well, Paul, change makers like you give me hope. This isn't work that any of us can do or accomplish on our own. This is work where we all need to come together, and when we do come together, I think we can accomplish things that none of us can do by ourselves. So, thank you for your work, and thank you for your support, and thanks for joining me here today. It's been fun to talk on this Changemaker Chat.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it, and I enjoy getting to the opportunity to work with you more in the days, weeks, months, and years to come.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks, John.